Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Home Tech. Jason, how's it going?
Pretty good, Seth. How are you?
Doing well. Bit of a slow week this week.
Yeah. It was a slow news week. I keep an eye on all my normal sources, and just doesn't seem to be a lot going on this week. I think people are sort of now recovering from Cedia and entrenching back into their work, and getting ready to try and deliver on everything they promised at the show.
Yeah, they don't have anything else to say.
Yeah, that's it.
Pretty much. So we had an interview lined up for tonight, but they had to reschedule at the last second. So we're just going to do a real quick show and talk about a couple of news items that we found this week. Not much going on in the home automation AV world, but a little bit.
Little bummed to do an abbreviated show here. Was looking forward to our interview, but life happens, and we will reschedule that and get back to our normally scheduled programming next week. But we'll kick around a few news stories here of what did go on this week, and like I said, we'll get back to our normal schedule here, resuming next week.
So I want to put a quick shout out to everybody who's left us some nice reviews on iTunes. You can find us there on iTunes. You can find us on Stitcher now. And go ahead, if you have any feedback, we'd love to hear your voice there on SpeakPipe. And Jason, I think you know the URL for that a little bit better.
Yeah. SpeakPipe is it's a cool page that allows you to basically go there and just leave us up to a 90-second voicemail, and we will feature that on a future show. So if you have maybe a project that you're working on your smart home, you have maybe a question you've come across, it's a great place to leave it. We can address it on the show. Also, welcome any comments or just general feedback there. And the way that you do that is very simple. You just go to speakpipe.com/HomeTech.fm. And from there, it's very, very self-explanatory.
Yep, just hit record and send.
Exactly.
Yep.
Doesn't get much simpler than that.
Nope. So one thing that actually came out this week was that the company Wink, which is the little hub... I'm not going to hit it. Doing it anyway. The little hub that's sold in Home Depot. They came out with a touch panel light switch combo.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of weird, huh?
It's a strange... I shouldn't say strange. It was a little bit surprising, actually, to see that these guys would get into the business of manufacturing touch panels, because I think a lot of the other guys that have been doing this for a long time are sort of retrenching a little bit, because it's such a tough... ever since the iPad came out, that business has really gotten a lot more difficult for people to sort of rationalize like a dedicated touch panel. And Wink is getting into that business. They've got a product, and the news this week is that the pricing just became, I guess, public. So it looks like this thing is going to retail for $300. We'll post a picture of it in the show notes. It's kind of side by side. It looks like it's probably about a 2-gang size plate, and it's got sort of 2 almost keypad looking buttons on one side that function as a light switch, and then on the other side it's got this built-in touch panel. And like I said to you, I think it is surprising that they're getting into this business. I'm sure they're building this thing very cheaply to be able to sell it for $300, and I have to question how well it's going to function.
Yeah, I remember the day the iPad came out, and we bought one fairly early on here for the office, and I brought it in, I looked at it, and said, I'm never selling a touchscreen again. I mean, yeah. Really, I haven't. I mean, very rare has the client actually said, yeah, let's put a couple of touchscreens in the house. I mean, the use case is so small for those now.
Yeah, it is, and it's... and a lot of companies have adapted by making basically adapters, right? So it's like an in-wall touch panel, but it's basically Crestron or Savant or whoever it is. All they're really selling you at that point is a dock. And so the iPad just slides into this dock, and they give you a nice, fancy bezel or whatever it is to kind of go around it, so that you get the convenience of a fixed in-wall touch panel, but you're not paying the high prices of having like a dedicated purpose-built touch panel, because the iPads are far, far cheaper than like a dedicated touch panel ever was.
Yeah, and they work better, and the battery lasts longer, and just in every respect, it's a smarter buy than buying. Well, I mean, in Apple and Android for that matter, they're going to sell millions of these devices, and a single vendor of a single touchscreen could only sell a couple thousand of these things. Even Wink, I don't suspect they're not going to sell a million of these touchscreens, so they're not going to have the buying power that Apple did when they made the iPad, or when Samsung made an Android tablet. They're just not going to have that purchasing power to get low cost components that are good and nice to put into this. I've been surprised before on things, but I don't know. I mean, do you remember Sonos? They had like a little handheld wireless touchscreen controller.
I do. Yes. Yeah.
That thing was great, but the screen started going out on them, and
Oh yeah, we had all kinds of problems with those, and eventually, they just discontinued it.
I had somebody just call me up yesterday and was asking, I can't touch the buttons on the right hand side, and it was always like a row that would just completely go dead.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
Sonos discontinued those and said, use our app.
And that's the point that it got to. It was like we were going to clients' homes where these devices were not working anymore, and we were just so used to it at that point that it was like our instant reaction was like, buy an iPod Touch, install the app, you're done. Like, don't even waste time like having us send this back. And Sonos is a great company. Like, you and I have talked about it on numerous shows. We're both very big fans of Sonos, but even they couldn't really find a way to execute on having their own purpose-built control interface and making it work reliably at a price that people would actually be enticed to buy it.
Yeah, and I will say in Sonos' defense that they handled the situation incredibly well. They honored outside of warranty some of the touchscreens issues that we were having. So I mean, for some clients it was frustrating, but in the end I think they were okay. And then it's been 2 years now, maybe a little bit longer, since they discontinued that product. I still have some out in the field that work, and then there's some of them that are just completely shot and not working anymore. I can't do anything about it other than getting a purpose-built device for it.
Yeah. And Wink is a spin-off of General Electric, right? Am I recalling that correctly?
I think so. I think
there's some sort of affiliation there.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what it is, but there is a big name behind this product in one capacity or another. But even with that said, I kind of question the merits of this decision to put this product out. I mean, it's cool. Like, if you have a Wink hub and $300 is nothing to sneeze at, but it's also not an astronomical amount of money. So it's not like you're going out on a huge ledge by buying this, and it might turn out to be like a really nice fit for certain people. But I just, the in-wall touch panels, that whole business has really changed, and I'm surprised to see a new entrant into the market. Like we were talking about now, I mean, really most of my clients, the vast majority, if they want an in-wall touch panel, we're just doing like some sort of dock for an iPad. One of the trade-offs there was that you got no like tactile hard buttons, where like on a lot of the Crestron touch panels, for instance, on the sides of the touch panel, you might have some hard buttons there that you could assign to do various functions that are used very often. So, for instance, maybe volume up in the room, or like a lighting scene or something like that. And you don't really get that on the iPad. But actually, just recently, LaunchPort came out. You're familiar with the LaunchPort line of products?
Oh, yeah. I saw them at CD. I think we talked about them on a previous show.
Yeah, we've talked about them before, and they came out with a really cool sleeve for the iPad that actually has hard buttons incorporated or integrated into the side of the sleeve. And those hard buttons are based on Lutron's radio technology, so they're very easy to integrate. And that's kind of, you're getting the best of both worlds there. And solutions like that, to me, seem like a better fit for most people than maybe something like this.
Yeah, and another issue I think I have with this is that it's a light switch. So you either need to be really comfortable working with high voltage electric, or you need to hire an electrician to put this in. And then if it breaks, you may need to hire an electrician to take it out again. I mean, this is
very true. This is
kind of strange that a DIY type product would come out with something like this. It's just, I don't know. And Wink also hasn't had the best reviews lately,
No, they definitely haven't.
Be kind of worried.
So, anyways,
about it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. It's up for pre-order now on Amazon. Again, $300. And if anyone's listening who happens to have experience with this product, definitely reach out and let us know. I'll be curious to see what people's experiences are with this product.
Yeah, definitely. I'd like to hear if anybody's purchased a Wink system from Home Depot. Just let us know what A to Z, how it was.
Exactly, yeah. It'd be good to know because, like you said, I mean, there's been a ton of really kind of scathing reviews on Wink, and it seems like they may have pushed that product out a little bit before it was ready, perhaps. But I'm not sure. Maybe they're addressing things in firmware, and one can hope that things are getting better. But yeah, I was pretty close to pulling the trigger on a Wink hub myself because it looked like a pretty promising product, but I kind of got a little gun shy when I read some of the reviews.
Yeah, definitely. So there's a nice little product called TiltMyBlinds that is coming to this is another DIY market product that looks pretty cool.
It does, yeah. I actually, it's like the smart home market right now and point solutions are just popping up every day on Kickstarter and Indiegogo, and it's just like a red hot market, and there's always new products coming online, and it's hard to kind of keep track of and get excited about all of them. But this particular one kind of caught my attention, and I wanted to talk about it tonight because, we've discussed just in recent shows, I think even on our last episode, as recently as our last episode, we were talking about, kind of DIY solutions versus like professionally installed solutions. And I was making the comment that shading control is still one of those things that kind of lives primarily in the realm of like hiring a professional integrator. But that is changing. And this product, TiltMyBlinds, is actually aimed right at that problem. And it's a do-it-yourself solution for basically adding some motorized control to, a particular type of blinds.
Yeah. And blinds, I mean, if in this case, they could already be installed in your house, and you just have to take them down. And it looks like they claim that it takes 15 minutes to do, but I don't believe that. It probably takes about an hour and a half to install this.
Once you factor in time for getting your bearings and
yeah. I mean, I do this almost monthly, where we have a shading job, and we're out trying to hang shades and that kind of thing. It still does take quite a long time to put those up. And this, you have to take down what you have and retrofit this little motor inside. And it looks like it has like a solar cell that clips on to the shades itself, so it actually recharges its battery, which is a smart idea.
That I thought was pretty cool. So you can actually you can power these things with a battery, or as I understand it, there's like an optional solar attachment, which is very smart. So it basically just, I guess, probably recharges like a battery, using solar, which is very, very clever, I think, way of going about this.
Yeah, I've seen some shading companies have a little bit of an issue with that. We've got a couple here at the showroom that we have on display, like Somfy shades that have kind of this battery pack. It's kind of a proprietary battery pack that you kind of plug in and kind of set on top of the shade itself, the roller shade. And they claim that it lasts for like 3 years if you went up and down every day. We've had ours here for 6 and have never replaced those batteries once, so it's probably okay, probably fairly accurate. And then we just got some Q-Motion shades in, and those actually use D-cell batteries, like 4 D-cell batteries. I think it's the last thing on Earth that actually uses those. But
yeah,
it's pretty nice. I mean, you just pop the batteries in. But I really like this. You don't have to use batteries at all. There's no recycling issues and that kind of thing. Just use the sun. The sun's always in the window. It's a great idea.
Clever. Yeah, so I'm looking at it here closer, and basically what it's got is either way you get a lithium iron battery pack. Either way. And then the options are basically that either charges using solar, or there's like a USB charger that's included that you can plug in to recharge the battery. And it says that you would only need to do that every few years, depending on how often you're using the motors. So it sounds like that battery is obviously designed to hold a charge for a really long time. So that could be a good option too. And if you're not, maybe if you live in an area or the blinds are on a side of the house that doesn't get a lot of sun, that would probably be a smarter way to plan on doing it.
Yeah, I would probably lose the USB charger thing well before that time period expired.
Very true.
But I think the price point's pretty good. It looks like $60 is what they're claiming on their early bird offering right now on their Kickstarter. If they can come anywhere in that price point range, I mean, that's incredibly competitive to what we can offer as a professional solution. For a controlled shading system. I mean, that's really, really good.
Yep. Yeah, and it looks like they're doing some smart things here as far as how they're packaging things. They've also got a switch that they're putting out. It kind of reminds me of the Lutron like Pico stuff, where it's just a battery powered deal that you kind of stick on the wall with adhesive, so you don't have to worry about like running any power to it or anything like that. And then it communicates wirelessly with the motors, so you can actually, in whatever room that you're automating your blinds, you can stick this thing on the wall, and there you've got hard button control of them. And they've also got, of course, an app that they're talking about where you can do scheduling. So you can open up the app and kind of set up schedules for your blinds to open and close, based on the time of the day. And that's pretty cool too. So they've got it looks like they're kind of taking the right approach with this, and looks like they are getting some love on Kickstarter. They've got, looks like at the time of our recording here, they've got about 21 days to go. And they have already surpassed their goal. They had a $50,000 goal on there, and they're at about $62,000 at the time of this recording.
Yeah, the only problem I have just right out of the gate with it is there's just no real integration with it that I can see. But I'm not going to ding them for that, especially on an early, Kickstarter type company. That's really hard for them to forecast, even if that's going to be on their roadmap right now. So
very true.
I will not hold that against them.
Give them a pass for now.
Yeah, for $60, I'll definitely give them a pass.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it looks kind of like an interesting product. I'll definitely be keeping an eye on it, and maybe as they move a little bit further along in the process, we could possibly get someone on the show to discuss it.
Yeah, definitely, it'd be pretty cool. So, have you heard of this company? I'm going to try and sound it out. Microsoft. Have you heard of them?
Nice. Yeah, they're back in the news, huh?
I guess I really had to dig deep for this story, right?
Yeah. They've got like a product out I saw this week that's it's kind of like their answer to Chromecast, and it was buried deep down in one of my Google alerts that I have set for like Android TV. And that was the only place that I even heard about it. So it was kind of surprising to me, like that it didn't get at least a little bit more coverage than that. Like nobody's really seems to be talking about this.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with it. It's Microsoft, like they used to be the big dogs, and now they come out with something like this that looks pretty cool. It's a little more expensive than a Chromecast, so $59.95. They're taking pre-orders on it right now for online and at Best Buy. It looks like. But, it works on the Miracast technology, which, basically every Android device has. I think Windows 8 has it. I think it's Miracast, from what I remember, is pretty open source. So I think anybody can integrate that into their devices. And, of course, it's made by Google, so, of course, it's on Android. But it would be really interesting to see if there are any integration that somebody could do with this, because the Chromecast device, they changed their API like overnight, and the integration that Chow Mein Drivers was doing, through Control 4 and everything, just kind of died because of that upgrade, which is really unfortunate when that happens. But I'd hope that something like this, maybe there's some kind of option here, maybe a little bit more expensive, but maybe still an option.
Yeah, I mean, Chromecast is so insanely cheap. It's like, this is double the price, but when you're talking about double the difference between 30 and 60, I mean, they're both very inexpensive. It says works with at least, the device that it will work with has to have at least Windows 8.1 or Android 4.2.1. It's like a little, kind of looks like on a little dongle, and it's got, similar to the Chromecast, it's got kind of two ends to it, little cable connecting the two of them. And one of them's USB, which is basically just used for power. So you would plug that into like the USB port on your smart TV. That will power the device. And then the other end is, of course, HDMI, which plugs into your desired input. And then it just allows you to, mirror what's on your tablet or laptop. They were very specific about the range, which I found interesting in this article. They said it's got a 23-foot range. I guess if you get outside of 23 feet, that's it, you're done. I thought that was kind of interesting, but yeah, so the Chromecast's like $35. This is about $60. I don't know. It's, I guess, for the right person. Again, it all comes down to what technology that you currently have. A product like this or Chromecast, a lot of people aren't generally like driving their technology buying decisions based off of something like this. It's just sort of something that you can throw in. So if you're a big Windows user, it's something like this might be a good fit. Whereas if you're an Apple user, then obviously, it's not a great fit for you. So I don't know. Interesting also in that it just isn't really being talked about much.
Yeah, I wish this company Microsoft luck in their Kickstarter.
Oh, that's great, man. Anyways, there was one more story that we wanted to touch on, and that is going to be a little bit of insider baseball, kind of for people in the industry. Luxel is not really a household name in networking, but definitely a name that a lot of integrators are familiar with. And they actually just this week announced a new wireless network controller.
Yeah, I think what really made the news is the price. The controller is $399, and then they have a $700 kit that includes 3 of their 300N access points. Which I think that's pretty cool. The price point's really competitive to what I think you and I have used in the past.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. And for anyone who's not familiar with the sort of the concept of like a wireless controller, the idea is that in a lot of homes you'll have more than one wireless access point. And if you've got a device like your iPhone, for instance, it will only be capable of connecting to one access point at a time. And so at any given time, your device is connected only to one access point. That doesn't matter if it's just a cheap like Linksys or if it's a top-of-the-line Ruckus. That's just the way that it works. The idea is that as you move around your house, like from room to room, your device will typically stay latched on to the access point that it's connected to for as long as it can. So you might go walk all the way across the house. You're still connected to an access point on the other side of the house because you haven't gone far enough away for it to lose the connection. But you could be standing 10 feet away from an access point that if you were connected to it, you would have a much stronger, faster connection. The idea behind a wireless controller is that it basically is actively monitoring your connection, and it's proactively moving you from access point to access point as you move around the house. They obviously do other things with controllers, like they can make setup and deployment of the access points a lot easier for the integrator. Troubleshooting, maintenance, firmware updates, all of that sort of thing can, to a certain extent, be managed through a controller. But from the end user perspective, that's kind of what makes a controller a big deal and why it's, when you're doing like a high-end automation system, why it's important.
Yeah, I'd say this really would help in the deployment too. Like you were just saying, I think I took I was at CEDIA this year, and I think I took a class where they were introducing this or they were talking about this kind of in some way. And one of the things that was really big was that you just basically have to go to this controller setup page, and then whatever changes you make to, say you wanted to change the access points, the name of your wireless LAN. You could easily do that and then hit one button and it deploys out to all of the access points that are connected to that controller. So I mean, that instead of having to connect to and remember passwords for 5 or 6 different access points, you could just use one controller. It pushes all the settings out from that central place. And for the price, I mean, that's pretty good. You get support, as a dealer, you get support from Luxel. I don't think that's a bad price at all.
No, it's not. And, they say that right in the article here that we're reading. It's a lot of the controllers, the wireless controllers, like Ruckus, the Zone Director comes to mind. really designed and targeted for large-scale enterprise-grade type systems, which if you're in, a 6 or 7,000 square foot house, that might be a good fit. But maybe, you've got a 2,000, 2,500 square foot home, 4 bedrooms. It's not like a mansion, but it's a sizable house where you've got multiple wireless access points that are going to be necessary to get like your good coverage throughout that house. Having a controller is really nice, but it might not be nice enough to justify the cost of like a zone director. And it looks like Luxul is that's really what they're targeting, is that sort of market where it's like, yes, my network is big enough to justify having a wireless controller, but it's not necessarily big enough for me to go spend thousands of dollars on it. And that's exactly what they're going after, and we'll see how it plays out. But I think it's, as far as market positioning, I think it's a smart move for them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Like it says here in the article, this is suitable for 80% of the custom install market. And then, the 20%, there are higher-end offerings available. And that's a quote. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, they really do realize that, Luxul is there for, and I mean, Cisco is there for really high-end, high-performance systems that demand those products. And then you have a system like this. This is our number one complaint that we get from customers walking in the door is, hey, we have really bad Wi-Fi at the house. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is the number one thing. And hey, for dealers, this could be a one-stop solution. For $700, you get this nice little package, put it in, and your customer's happy.
Yep, exactly. All right, Seth. Well, I think that was pretty much everything that I wanted to cover in the news this week. Did you have anything else?
No, I think that's pretty much it. Slow week here.
Yeah, kind of a slow week. Again, we had an interview lined up, but of course things happen, and we hope to get him rescheduled soon and get back to our normally scheduled programming. But for this week, we'll just do kind of an abbreviated show. Again, just want to thank everybody for listening. We really appreciate you tuning in. Definitely, if you're enjoying the show, please tell your friends, tell anyone else that's kind of into the smart home scene. It just really helps us if you spread the word. And, of course, drop by iTunes, leave us a review. We would really appreciate that as well.
Yeah, definitely. And you can tell people that even aren't interested in the smart home world, just come listen to us.
That's a great point.
Yeah, give us 5 stars on iTunes. You don't like it. So, yeah, we really do appreciate those reviews and comments, and especially on the ones on the SpeakPipe. Those are really cool. We get to hear your voice, and sometimes we can actually, we can use it on the show, like we did last week.
Yeah, definitely. We're hoping for some more of those. So if you're feeling brave and you want to be featured on the show with a question, definitely check it out at speakpipe.com/HomeTech.fm. And with that, we will wrap it up. Thanks again for listening, and take care, Seth.
Have a good one, Jason.